Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're tracking what feels like a revolutionary current in the space industry. This shift from, the big government-run behemoths to these agile, full-stack private enterprises. We're not just talking about rockets.
Yeah.
We're looking at who's building the entire ecosystem, the whole thing, from the satellite itself to the command center right here on Earth.
That's the crucial distinction, really. For decades, space commerce meant, massive lead times, huge costs, and all this fragmented contracting. Now, as our sources detail, companies are pushing for faster, affordable, reliable solutions, and they're doing that by integrating the whole chain.
Which just lowers the barrier to entry for everyone.
It lowers it dramatically.
So our focus today is on Dhruva Space, a space tech startup based out of Hyderabad, India. And we're doing this deep dive because their story really covers it all. Full-stack engineering, validated missions, global partnerships, and some pretty significant funding.
It's a perfect case study for where commercial space is headed. So the mission for us is simple. We need to understand what this full-stack approach really means in practice. It's not just a buzzword. It means they're not just selling you a satellite. They're selling mission success because they control the hardware, the launch logistics, and that critical link back home.
Okay, let's unpack this definition then. When we talk about Dhruva's full-stack model, what are we actually talking about?
We're talking about three core pillars that have to work together perfectly. You have the satellite platforms, the launch services management, and then the crucial ground services, the ground stations.
But my question is, why should a client choose one company that does all three? Why not just pick the best-in-class specialist for each separate component?
It all comes down to reliability and integration.
Okay.
A specialized satellite builder might give you a perfect piece of hardware, a perfect bus, but if it doesn't integrate smoothly with the launch mechanism, or if the ground station antenna can't talk to it efficiently, the whole mission fails.
So by owning the stack, they basically de-risk the whole project for the client.
They eliminate that integration risk. And their offerings, which our sources detail, range from selling specific parts like spacecraft solar arrays to full end-to-end mission hosting.
And while this is definitely an Indian success story, the sources really highlight their global ambition right from the start. They're in Hyderabad, but they also have a base in Europe, in Graz, Austria. What does that European foothold get them?
It's about access.
Okay.
It makes it so much easier to secure European contracts, to engage in those multinational partnerships that you just have to have for growth in this industry. It's a signal.
A signal that they're built for the global market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not just the Indian one, and that connects directly back to their technology, how mature it is.
Right. If you're going to claim to be a reliable full-stack provider, your hardware has to have flight heritage. And that's where we get into the technology readiness level, or TRL. For anyone who's less familiar, TRL isn't just a grade, it's a scale, right?
Yeah.
From a concept on a whiteboard, TRL 1, all the way to flight-proven maturity at TRL 9.
Exactly. And TRL 9 is the gold standard. It's the space equivalent of saying a plane has been certified and flown safely for years. Our sources confirm Dhruva has hit TRL 9 on several key components.
Like what?
Things like their orbital deployers, the DSOD series, and their PDOT and P30 technology demonstrator platforms. This means their core architecture isn't a promise, it's ready for commercial scale.
That's a massive differentiator. Customers want to know the platform they're buying won't, fail on launch day, but a satellite is useless without ground support. Let's get into that part of the stack.
And this is where it gets really interesting, especially for missions like imaging or climate monitoring, where you have just massive amounts of data.
You can't have a bottleneck.
You can't. And Dhruva's ground station specs are, well, they're comprehensive. They have smaller 1.4-meter antennas for basic command and control, your VHF, UHF stuff. But the critical part is their large infrastructure. We're talking dual-band S and X-band antennas at 3.8 and 4.5 meters. And then the really big ones. Massive tri-band dishes, 4.5, 7.5, and even 11.0 meters that can handle S, X, and Ka-band.
That jump to Ka-band is the key, isn't it? Why is that tri-band capability so essential for their business model?
It's all about bandwidth. Ka-band gives you significantly higher bandwidth. That means you can download huge files like high-resolution hyperspectral imagery much, much faster.
So if you're hosting these really advanced payloads, which we'll get into, you need a ground architecture that can keep up.
Precisely. This infrastructure ensures the full stack actually delivers the data efficiently.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly. They have the proven hardware, TRL 9, and they have the ground support. Now let's talk about how they moved from just testing components to deploying full missions. They've been busy.
Very dizzy. 8 payloads launched over the last 2 years, including the Thibault satellites. But those were really about validating the systems. The real technical breakthrough was the LEAPD mission that was January 1st, 2024, on an ISRO PSLV rocket. This was a dedicated qualification flight.
The whole goal was to space qualify their P-30 satellite platform.
Yes, that's the moment your platform goes from being an R&D asset to a real commercial product you can sell with confidence.
And that qualification is a huge step. It cements their ability to build platforms for anyone, anywhere. And as soon as you cross that technical line, the focus shifts.
To a commercial pivot.
Which brings us to their first big commercial mission, LEAP-1.
Indeed. And it signals that shift from using domestic launchers for testing to using major international rockets for, well, revenue-generating missions. This proven P-30 platform is designed for all sorts of high-value applications.
Things like IoT communications, Earth observation,
climate monitoring, emergency response, and they're even looking at future stuff like interplanetary missions and national security.
Now, we mentioned the ground segment. They build it for themselves, but you said they also sell it as a service.
Right, and it's a really smart way to leverage your existing assets. They manage their own missions with their own software, called ISOCS, that's their mission control, but the commercial play is ground station as a service, or GSOS.
So they build the giant antennas they need, and then they rent out the spare time to other satellite operators, even competitors.
Precisely. It turns an operational cost into a recurring revenue stream. A lot of smaller new space companies just don't have the capital to build an 11-meter Ka-band antenna array.
So they can just lease time from Dhruva.
They lease time. It strengthens the whole full-stack offering because it gives their clients flexibility.
This is where the ambition of the company really comes into focus, the LEP-1 commercial launch. Let's get into the specifics. When's it launching, and maybe more importantly, who's launching it?
Okay, so LAP-1 is scheduled for Q3 2025. And yes, the launch provider is a really big deal. It's going up on a SpaceX Falcon 9.
Wow.
And that choice is a powerful strategic statement. It immediately positions them outside of, a purely domestic reliance. It shows global commercial alignment.
Going from an ISRO qualification launch to a SpaceX commercial flight, that's a declaration.
Yeah.
You're playing on the world stage now. And the payload itself reflects that. Our sources mention this involves Indo-Australian partnership with U.S. support.
That's the hallmark of modern space commerce, and the P-30 platform is now carrying some truly cutting-edge, commercially focused payloads. This isn't just about putting a box in orbit anymore.
Okay, let's deep dive into those hosted solutions, because they sound like the next generation of satellite intelligence. LP-1 is hosting 2 major payloads. Let's start with the one that feels the most revolutionary. Akulitech's Nexus 01.
Nexus 01 is, it's essentially an advanced artificial intelligence module in orbit. And the key capability here isn't just that it can run AI algorithms.
What is it then?
It's the onboard data processing, and this is crucial, the AI and machine learning model retraining capabilities.
Wait, hold on. Retraining in space.
In orbit, yes.
That sounds, that's genuinely a game changer, isn't it? We're used to satellites just sending raw data down.
And we do all the hard work on the ground.
Right, so why is doing it up there so revolutionary?
It just eradicates latency. Think about it. If a wildfire starts in a remote area, the satellite can adapt its model on the fly. The sources say this provides near real-time insights because the model is continuously improving itself with live sensor data.
The satellite is literally learning on the job.
Getting smarter while it flies. It massively enhances performance for anything time-sensitive, like disaster response or defense.
That's a huge leap in autonomy. So what's the second payload?
The second one is from Esper Satellites. It's called OTR-2, and it's a cutting-edge hyperspectral imager.
Okay, so far beyond what a normal camera can see.
Way beyond. A regular camera sees red, green, and blue. A hyperspectral imager measures light across hundreds of different spectral bands.
And what does that extra detail actually let you do?
You can identify materials and conditions with incredible precision. You could distinguish between a healthy crop and a stressed one, or spot mineral deposits on the ground. OTR-2 delivers all this data through their API.
So what we have is an Indian platform hosting a multinational fusion of next-gen sensing and self-improving AI. And the sources confirm this is aimed at everything from defense and mining to environmental monitoring.
It is. It's the perfect validation of the full-stack model. It shows that Dhruva can attract the world's most advanced payload providers because they offer a reliable end-to-end service.
Okay, let's pivot to the fuel that's powering all this.
Yeah.
The money. Because scaling up building these platforms, booking Falcon 9 launches, that takes serious capital.
It does. And they're currently in a pre-Series B funding round, which is a really robust sign of investor confidence. They're raising about $6 million.
And this is a bridge round to set up a bigger Series B later on.
That's typically the goal, but it's fully anchored. The lead investor is Aditum Venture Capital Fund, or AVCF1. They're putting in a big chunk of it.
Who else is involved?
You've got Aranya Holding Ventures, Hyderabad Angel Fund, and others. It shows a really diverse base of support, from VCs to local angels.
So looking at their whole journey, how much have they raised in total? And what does this do to their valuation?
In total, they've now raised over $22 million. That includes a very strong $15 million Series A. And critically, our sources estimate this latest round pushes their post-money valuation to around $215 million.
$215 million for a company out of Hyderabad. That speaks volumes, not just about Dhruva, but about the entire Indian private space ecosystem.
It signals maturity and differentiation. In a market that's often dominated by American and European giants, this valuation puts Dhruva Space firmly in the top tier of Indian new space, right alongside companies like Agnikul Cosmos and Skyroot.
It's a huge validation for the founders.
A huge one. For Sanjay Nakanti and Chaitanya Dora, it shows investors are betting heavily on the cost advantages and the engineering talent that India offers.
So we've covered the whole journey, from the TRL-9 components to the P30 platform on a Falcon 9 and the financial confidence of a $200 million plus valuation. What are the key takeaways for you, the listener?
I think the main takeaway is that this full-stack approach is winning. Dhruva Space isn't just selling hardware parts, they're selling a complete, validated system.
Right. Proven by AVPTD, now being deployed commercially with LE1.
Exactly. And they're financially robust and using that money to host these incredibly advanced AI-driven international payloads.
It just fundamentally changes what a satellite company has to be in this decade. It's not enough to build one piece of the puzzle anymore. You have to enable the whole mission.
Absolutely. And that strategic focus on these integrated advanced solutions leads us to our final provocative thought, which comes directly from that Nexus 01 payload.
Go on.
We talked about its ability to retrain its own AI models while in orbit. So as commercial satellites gain this power to continuously self-improve, to adapt and make complex decisions without waiting for commands from the ground, how drastically will this idea of on-orbit intelligence reshape the role and maybe even the size of human-managed ground control centers? Are we witnessing the dawn of truly autonomous orbital platforms? That's the question this technology raises.